Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about James Hetfield and everything that you need to know if you want to be able to play Metallica's back catalogue on rhythm guitar. So let's take a couple of seconds to really honor Papa Het, the absolute beast of a player and probably the greatest rhythm guitarist in metal of all time. Hetfield was an absolute beast and had a number of things going for his playing, particularly with his right hand technique, and inspired countless metal players on rhythm guitar to become great. I've taken heaps of students through the process of being able to play all of Metallica's songs, including the big heavy hitters like Master of Puppets, Down Picking, 100% at Speed, Ride the Lightning, and Dyer's Eve. Now, if you want to do the same, let's have a look at the definitive elements that really make up James Hetfield's style and everything that you need to know if you want to be able to play Metallica's back catalogue. So the first thing, let's talk about tuning. So Metallica in the 80s predominantly used E standard for their songs. Now there's the odd exception here and there where they drop down to D standard on songs like Sad But True and The Thing That Should Not Be. And then in the 90s, they switched it up after the Black Album to playing in E flat. And they also did this live. And most of the time when you hear Metallica play their old songs live, they're going to be playing them in E flat tuning. Of course, we need to talk about the really controversial album here, Saint Anger. This one was recorded in drop C, and this is the real standout from the rest of Metallica's catalogue. And that album has some amazing riffs on it, but you got to get past that trash can snare sound, and that's the hard part, right? So one of the things you might want to think about investing in if you want to play Metallica's back catalogue, particularly to the backing tracks of the original songs, is to invest in a drop pedal. A drop pedal will change the tuning of your guitar so that you can move it down to E flat or D standard. And then if you tune down to drop D, you can also use the drop pedal to then go down to drop C if you do want to venture into Saint Anger territory. Now we need to talk about James Hetfield's right hand. He was an absolute beast of a rhythm player, and the thing that makes him really revered within the guitar community is his down-picking ability. He is a very, very physical player. And when you're trying to learn James Hetfield's style, it is like going to the gym. It's physical and it's really tough, and you're gonna get the blood pumping and feel the burn in your right arm. So downpicking is what Hetfield is really famous for. You can see examples of it on songs like Master of Puppets, Blackened, Creeping Death, Through the Never. So what this means is James Hetfield on his right hand is only hitting with downstrokes on these songs. And that's pretty tough to do, especially when you're playing something like Puppets up over 200 BPM. Now, the next thing you really need to know and master if you want to play Metallica's style is palm muting. So James Hetfield was an absolute god of palm muting and would put in palm mutes in different locations, almost as if he was a drummer to hold percussive beats and syncopate his riffs. So you have to become really good at palm muting and controlling the noise of distortion when you are trying to emulate James Hetfield's style on the electric guitar. And this is something that a lot of beginner guitarists can have a bit of trouble with. Now, the next thing you have to master are power chords. These are a pretty simple concept, but Hetfield has used them throughout his career and still continues to use them to this day. So the simple power chord shape, you're gonna need to know that. Now, going back to Hetfield's right hand, he was also a master of the gallop. So the gallop is something that I teach my students usually after they've started to master downpicking because they go hand in hand. A gallop is where we have this pattern. 2 quick notes followed by 1 slow note. On the right hand, we have a picking pattern of down, up, down on this. And most of the time we're palm muting while we do it. So, famous examples. Or, of course, Battery. Now, you're also going to need really great alternate picking and to build your speed on your alternate picking because, of course, being in the 80s and in the metal scene, Metallica could thrash. Other things that Hetfield was famous for: harmony. So a lot of the time he would break into little lead breaks with Kirk Hammett where they would harmonize together and often play the same notes shifted up a third in the scale so they get some beautiful harmony patterns. And something that Hetfield really gets overlooked on are actually his abilities with playing clean rhythm guitar. So one thing I particularly really love about Metallica are their clean sections and how he took this classic rock arpeggiated broken chord thing from the 70s and then mixed it into Metallica's style with a little bit of a classical influence. And while we're on this subject, Hetfield could also fingerpick like a king. So there we go. There's a bit of a showcase of all of the things that Hetfield does throughout his career. And obviously this guy sings on top of it. An absolute beast and someone that I always really looked up to when I was coming up as a guitarist. Now, if you want to play all of Hetfield's stuff and seriously dig into Metallica's back catalog, you're going to need to develop speed, stamina, control, and endurance. And that's the hard part, because I can give you this quick little video and tell you everything that you need to do, but you need to go away and work on these things to develop the abilities so that they actually stick longer term. So you need a process to actually building speed and stamina and endurance. And this is what I teach my students. You can find this process in my video titled Speed Concepts I Wish I Knew When I Was Younger. This will give you a framework for how to build your chops so that you can become as good as James Hetfield on rhythm guitar. And if you want to dig into more depth on some of these concepts, you can check out my free 7-day metal guitar bootcamp. But for now, go and check out that video, Speed Building Concepts I Wish I Knew When I Was Younger, and let's get you chugging like James Hetfield.